Hey guys, my name's Jim. I'm a sophomore in college, and here I'm going to be mostly talking about elections. The first elections I want to talk about today were the two special elections held in North Carolina this past Tuesday. In the 3rd District, we saw Greg Murphy win by 24 points, and in the 9th District, we saw State Senator Dan Bishop win by 2 points. Republicans were very quick to claim victory in these two races, but they do have some causes of concern. While they were able to keep a similar margin in the more rural 3rd District that President Trump won by, they underperformed President Trump by 10 points in the 9th District. That's largely because the Charlotte suburbs came out pretty heavily for Dan McCready, the Democrat. While I don't think this is going to be a problem for President Trump next year because I think there'll be more Republican turnout, it is a bad sign for Virginia Republicans who are trying very desperately to hold on to the legislature here in Virginia. But more on that in another video. I also want to talk about this coming Tuesday's Israeli elections. Last spring, it looked like Netanyahu was going to be able to form a government, but because of some infighting with some of the minor parties over whether or not they should be able to draft more of the religious Orthodox Jews into the military, the Knesset had to vote to dissolve itself. So now Netanyahu's trying to win a majority, so he's teamed up with the Kulanu party and is appealing to the libertarians and the people on the further to the right in Israel by promising to have a vote to legalize marijuana and also promising to annex the West Bank. This is important because since 2003, whenever Netanyahu's Likud party wins, the Republican Party ends up winning in the next election. So we'll have to wait till Tuesday to see what happens in Israel. Finally, I want to talk about last night's Democratic debate. This debate was far more civil than the previous two had been, and unlike the previous two, had all the frontrunners on the same stage. We had Joe Biden in the center, presenting a more moderate view of the Democrat Party, with Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders on his left and his right, presenting the more progressive view of the Democrat Party. I also want to talk about Andrew Yang. He decided that he's going to give away $12,000 to 10 people, which, if you ask me, is kind of a little sketchy and could also be illegal. And that's Andrew Yang for you. But overall, I think he's a smart guy. I think he's bringing a lot of interesting ideas to the table. So I think he adds a lot. I also want to talk about how 12 years ago, the Democrat Party had one of their greatest candidates that they ever had in Barack Obama. They don't have a Barack Obama this year. The best they could do of the people that were on stage last night is Joe Biden, despite his gaffes, or Amy Klobuchar. They're both very moderate. Amy Klobuchar is able to win in a fairly competitive state by pretty big margins, and she's very reasonable. She doesn't go into a lot of detail, but I think she'd be one of the best candidates they could nominate this year. If they nominate a candidate like Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders, they run a huge risk of having a 1972 or 1984 election where the Democrat candidate only won one state. Kamala Harris started out as one of the most promising candidates, and it's been pretty clear that she's wanted to run for president since 2017 when she first became a senator. Unfortunately, she didn't come across so well in the second debate. She came off as very uptight, was very antagonistic towards Joe Biden. This debate, she seemed a lot less stressed, but again, she didn't come off as strong as she needed to. She also is facing some issues of flip-flopping. In last spring, she said she wanted to get rid of private insurance. Now she's saying that she doesn't want to outlaw it. She's also facing some criticism over her record as Attorney General of California. She says she wants to legalize marijuana, but she jailed hundreds of people for marijuana charges. So she has a lot of baggage on her. Another thing is Cory Booker. I think he did pretty well last night. He seemed very positive, talked about his record as mayor, and I think he made it very personal, which I think is very good. He does have some baggage from when he was mayor and from before. But I think him and Yang are pretty courageous for endorsing nuclear energy as a way to bring clean energy to the table, as opposed to many of the other ones that want to ban nuclear energy. Also, some people have been upset about Julian Castro claiming that Biden forgot something that he said 2 minutes ago. Some people were offended by that. Personally, I think it's fair game. Like, Julian Castro thought Biden said one thing at one point and then said something different. I don't think he was trying to mock him for being old. I think people are just overreacting. Also, there was a Republican group that published an ad critical of socialism, and it also had them burning a picture of AOC. Regardless of what you think of AOC, I think that everyone should agree that that ad was appalling and I think the group should apologize. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say today. Thank you for joining me, and have a great weekend.